Seriously, I cannot believe that I have been looking for one of these for 4 years and it finally happened. Finally got one, yeah! Hey guys, welcome to Horology Biology. In this video, I am going to be showing you how I put together my so-called Grail watch, or one of my Grail watches. I have a few, and how it all came about. The story, the production. So guys, without further ado, let's roll this clip. So let's get on with this super fresh, super nice surgery of these two watches. So the story behind this was that I saw this pop up on eBay a few weeks ago. And I'd already seen some people discussing it in the forums, and they were basically saying, oh man, this Aqua Graph that's come up on eBay and it's fully not correct, blah, 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 blah. And if I'm honest, yeah, it's not an Enicar case, it's not an Enicar movement, and the seller completely was transparent about this, but I think it put a few people off. Now, I looked at this a different way, and I thought, hey, hang on a minute, why don't we look at this a different way and say that this is actually one of the Sherpa cousin watches, but with the wrong dial? Because from what I see from the hands, it's the same as the Jean Genève watch. And as far as I'm concerned, the only thing that was wrong with this was that it had a wrong dial. So I decided to go for it. And the main reason I went for it was I have been seriously looking, as it says in the beginning of the video, for one of these white Aqua Graph dials for about 4 years, man. It's not normal. Seriously, I've been hunting, been reaching out to everybody in the community. If you see a white dial, let me know, because I need it in my life. But nothing came into fruition until I saw this pop up on eBay. Now, when I first saw it, I was a bit like, oh man, I know it's going to cost me a lot of money because it's obviously a complete watch. And the only thing that I'm really interested in is, of course, the dial. But like I just mentioned, yours truly has a dial, a Jean dial for this watch, and I thought, well, I'll basically swap out the dials, and then I will have a complete watch, and then I obviously have the white Aqua dial as well. Now, the weird thing about these white Aquas as well is, it clearly does state in the original Enicar advertising that you could have an option of having a white dial on their Sherpa ranges. Weird thing is, I've never seen one. And quite a few people that I've spoken to have also said the same. They've never seen these white dialed watches come up. And the few people that I do know that own a white Aqua Graph, they've all basically done this exactly the same. They've acquired a dial and then they basically took this from an Aqua Graph that they've already got and they've put this into the watch that they own. So with me, I'm basically using my Mark III. I've got a Mark II Aqua Graph, all black. And of course, I've got a Mark III as well. Mark IIIs are pretty common. If I wanted to go and get one, I could go out and get one now and I could have a choice of many because they're on Chrono24 and they do pop up on eBay from time to time as well. So that was the watch that I decided to sacrifice for this project. So yeah, it's like I said, it's a very strange thing that even though Enicar did clearly state that you did have an option to have a white dial instead of like a generic black dial, very few people that I know, or I've not heard of it, that have actually seen one that's really come with the watch. So it's a bit of a strange one. So what I'm doing with this is, obviously I'm going to remove the hands off of this white Aqua Franken watch, if you want to call it. It's got strange red hands. Now those red subdial hands, they're not original to that watch or the Jean either. They had stick hands on. I do have stick hands as well, so I'm going to be transplanting those onto it later on. So first, obviously, I just want to remove the hands that are on it. The hour and the minute hand are fully correct for the Jean which is absolutely brilliant, so I didn't have to mess around sourcing those hands. Removing the subdial hands as well, these red ones that have been painted red for some reason. I don't know why. And then I'm basically just going to put those in my parts box. I mean, I'm probably never going to use them, but I'll probably remove the paint from them, and you never know, they might come up in a project later on down the road. So I have took my time with this. And as you can see, I've got one of those Valjoux 72 movement holders as well. Friend of mine, he hooked me up with one of those, and man, I'm not gonna lie, they're damn expensive, but it is nice to have one, especially when you're working on Valjoux 72s frequently, and I do seem to work on them quite a lot. So it was a good investment as far as I'm concerned. So just removing the dial feet screws from the back of the Valjoux 72. Most movement dial feet screws are on the side of the movement, but on the Valjoux 72s, they're actually on the back. and then I can just gently pry off this super nice dial. And look at it, guys, the condition of the dial as well is in really, really good condition. Really nice. It's a generic Valjoux 72 movement. Doesn't mean that it's terrible, it's just basically not being given that extra love, so it's not in like a rose gold colored style or a copper color. It's just a full steel one, but of course works exactly the same. So immediately as I've removed that dial, I'm just going to pop on the Jean one, and I'm going to get that ready obviously for the handset that's going to go onto this so that it can go back in the watch. So just popping it back on, and then of course I can just tighten up the screws underneath. You just basically nip them up and they will grab onto the feet and keep it nice and tight. So this is the Aqua Graph that I was talking about. This is my Mark III. Nothing wrong with it. Really nice looking watch. But obviously I'm not going to go out there and just buy another Aqua Graph. I could if I wanted to, but I decided to use this as my watch to basically transplant the white dial into it and make it into that super fresh, super nice Grail watch that I've wanted for a long damn time. So just removing the crown and the winding stem, and then I can remove the case clamps and obviously just pull that movement out of the watch. Just going to basically remove this jumper spring, because I have to remove this in order to get to the case clamp screw underneath. Now on these Valjoux 72s, they have them in 4 different positions, and they use them in groups of 2 obviously. And this is the most awkward one because, like I said, you have to remove that spring in order to remove the case clamps. A little bit annoying, because the other way you don't have to. And obviously once I've done this, then I can just take the movement out and then repeat the process by removing the hands, removing the dial, and of course putting on that super nice new dial. Guys, if you're liking this video, I would super appreciate it if you could hit a like on it. Feel free to drop a comment in the comment section at all. And of course, please subscribe to the HB channel. It will help the algorithm. It will help this channel grow. I want to give a big shout out as well to the HB members. That community also is starting to grow as well. We've got 8 members now. 8 members in the HB community. If you want to join the HB community, there's a link below which says join, and it'll give you all the information in regards to what it is and what you get, of course. No obligation, but it certainly helps me, and it certainly helps the channel grow, which is my #1 goal at the moment for 2023. Grow this channel. So covering the dial with some plastic, and I'm just going to remove these little sub-dial hands. Now, I use hand levers for this, and I'm taking my time because this is my own personal watch, and I've got to put on that super nice dial as well that's going to go onto it. So I want to make sure that I get it looking right. And another thing as well, I just got back from the UK, and I want to apologize as well for that meetup that didn't go as well with the live stream. Now, I have taken a lot of video footage, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a montage of that hopefully next week, and basically just put it all together so you guys can see some of the watches that were there. Man, there was a lot of money there, I'm not going to lie. Some serious watches. There was a AP, and that AP, I think I was told it weighed around 500 grams or something, 18 karat solid gold. Man, it was a lot of gold, and it was so heavy. It's definitely one to see, so I'll make sure that I get that sorted out for next week. But one thing that I did bring back from the UK, and you guys will probably be able to tell that in my voice, somebody gave me a man cold. I don't know who it was, and it's not fresh, but unfortunately, this is the 2nd time that I've been to the UK and I've brought back some UK disease. So I'm nursing that up, and it's super annoying. I'm not going to lie. It's really annoying because, like I said, it's the 2nd time that I've been there, and now I sound all nasally and I'm coughing and my nose is all juicy, and not in a good way. No, sir, not in a good way. So now that all those hands are off and everything, I can put on the new white Aqua Graph dial. And oh man, it just looks so nice already. I'm already feeling this so much. This was a real pleasure to do because, like I said, I've been itching to do this for like 4 years now, trying to get hold of one of these. And it has finally happened. And not just that, but a dial that's actually in really, really, really good condition. So I'm using the same black subdials that were on the Aqua Graph before. It makes complete sense with it being a wider background, so that you'd use the black subdial hands. And then what I had to do is, as well, is I didn't actually own any, so I had to go on eBay, and I noticed that there was a seller that was selling the black hour and minute hands for the Aqua Graph. And that's another thing as well. As far as I'm concerned, correct me if I'm wrong as well, if you guys know, but those black Valjoux 72 hands for the Enicar, they're not on any of the other models, so therefore there must have been a white version, obviously, that was out in production. I mean, if the hands are available to buy, then they must have been, but I've not seen them on any other watch other than this. So I bought myself a set of the hour and minute and the sweeper hands. They came from Switzerland, and they were not cheap, but of course completely necessary for this job. Otherwise it's just not going to work, because you cannot put the white hands on this. You've got to have the black hands. And of course, with a super nice orange sweeper as well. So just using the hand press tool to put on these little subdial hands, and then I can tackle the hour and the minute. And they're really nice as well. New old stock, of course, so the lume's nice on it as well, and they just look so nice with that black glossy paint. Really, really make the dial pop with these hands. So nice. So just making sure that everything's aligned up, and then I can press these on with the hand press tool. On goes the minute hand. New old stock hands can always be a little bit difficult as well, because they've not been used before. So you do find when you're putting them on, they're a lot harder, a lot stiffer to fit. Sometimes you have to adjust them just a little bit because they're new, basically, so they've not been put on before. And then adding a nice bit of color contrast by putting on that super nice orange sweeper. And I think it just works perfectly. I think it would be ruined if it was like a red lollipop or something. It just wouldn't work. It has to be an orange sweeper. So again, making sure that everything's aligned and that everything fires up correctly. And then I'm close to obviously casing up this watch. It's already looking super nice, guys. I'm really happy with this. Really, really happy how this is looking. I'm just so happy that the condition of the dial is in such good condition. So just replacing the spring as I've put in the case screws. And then just making sure that I put everything in place correctly. Whoops, there goes the slippy screw. Using brass tweezers, of course. Cannot stress that enough. Brass tweezers all the way. And that's complete. Just popping on that bayonet case back, and I'll just nip that up with a ball. And no, you're not going to see it yet. No, sir. Not happening. Not yet. You're going to have to wait. So now I'm basically just going to put the hands onto the Jean-Perret. Now these are the same hour and minute hands that were on. And I checked this on the internet, and they are exactly the same hands. And I'm really happy about that, because trying to source them might have been a little bit difficult. So to have them that came on the watch that I purchased, it's obviously saved me a big headache. Now, I did notice that the chrono sweeper hand is a little bit different to the one that I've used. I decided to use the lollipop one that was on my Aqua Graph Mark III, and it suits it very well, and I'm more than happy with how it looks. So literally just adding on this chrono hand. I'm going to add on these sub-dial hands as well. And we are really close. So I'm going to roll this out with a little montage. I took some nice pictures for you guys of the Jean Perret completed, and of course the white Aqua Graph dialed. It's so nice, super fresh. So there we have it, guys. Both the white Aqua Graph and the Jean Perret white dialed version as well. If you like this video, please hit a like on it, and of course feel free to subscribe to the HP channel. If you do subscribe, you will be notified when all the next HP goodness comes. And as always, guys, until next time.